You ever see a man who's already lost everything and still walks into a fight not to win, but to remind the world what real strength looks like? That was Jack Turner, a quiet, single dad, a war veteran, and a man who just wanted peace. But when two arrogant MMA fighters decided to humiliate him in front of his own son, they didn't just start a fight. They awakened something in him the world thought was long buried. Jack Turner wasn't the kind of man who needed attention. He'd done his fighting overseas, long nights under the burning desert sun, nights when fear was a living thing breathing down his neck. But now, he was just a mechanic in a small town, raising his 10-year-old son, Luke, after losing his wife to cancer 2 years back. Every morning started the same, packing Luke's lunch, walking him to the school bus, and heading to the auto shop where he worked. The pay was modest, but it was honest. Jack didn't talk much, but everyone respected him. Everyone except for the two men who thought they owned the gym next door. Troy and Mason were local MMA fighters, loud, cocky, and mean. They were the kind of men who thought muscles made them untouchable. Every evening they'd walk past Jack's shop after training, throwing insults just to get a rise out of him. "Hey, old man, you still polishing wrenches, or you polishing tears now?" Troy laughed once, kicking an empty can toward Jack. Jack just wiped his hands and looked up. "Not interested in trouble," he said calmly. But Mason stepped closer. "Hey, you used to fight, didn't you? Army, right? How about you step into a real ring for once?" Jack turned away. He had nothing to prove, not to them, not to anyone. But that same night, while closing the shop, he found his son outside looking down at a broken bicycle. Luke's eyes were red. "They broke it, Dad," he whispered. "Those guys from the gym, they said you're scared." That hit Jack harder than any punch could. For a long moment, he stood silent, jaw tight, eyes burning with memories of a battlefield and the promise he made to his wife, to never fight again. But watching Luke's trembling hands changed something inside him. Jack knelt and said softly, "Son, sometimes you don't fight to win. You fight to show people what right looks like." The next day, Jack walked into that MMA gym, his presence enough to make the crowd go quiet. Troy and Mason were there, laughing until they realized he wasn't joking. "I'll take both of you," Jack said simply. Same night, the room erupted in disbelief. Cameras came out. The veterans at the corner of the gym exchanged knowing glances. Something was coming, and it wasn't just a fight. The night of the fight, the gym was packed. Locals, fighters, even strangers who heard the story. The old mechanic vs the MMA champs. No one believed Jack would last around. Luke sat ringside, his small hands clutching the rope, eyes wide. Jack stepped into the ring wearing old army sweats, no sponsor logos, no bravado, just focus. The bell rang. Troy came first, fast and brutal. He threw jabs that could have dropped most men. But Jack moved like water, calm, calculated. Every dodge reminded him of nights under fire, every breath a whisper of the discipline that once kept him alive. Troy grew frustrated, reckless. Jack's counterpunch landed square on his ribs, a veteran's precision, not a brawler's rage. Troy went down hard. The crowd gasped. The veteran had drawn first blood. Then Mason stepped in, furious, charging with a flurry of kicks and elbows. Jack took a few hits, stumbled once, then found his rhythm. His training wasn't MMA, but war teaches its own kind of combat. Controlled, efficient, final. Mason swung again. Jack ducked low and swept him to the ground. The sound echoed through the gym like thunder. Silence followed, and then cheers. Jack didn't raise his fists. He didn't gloat. He simply turned to his son and smiled through a bruise forming on his cheek. After the fight, Troy and Mason approached him quietly. No cameras, no crowd. Just men stripped of ego. "Didn't know you still had that in you," Troy said, half smiling. Jack nodded. "It's not about what I have. It's about what I stand for." From that night on, the gym changed. Those who mocked him now called him Coach Jack. He started training veterans, teaching them to rebuild confidence, not destroy others. And Luke, he began to walk taller, proud of the father everyone once underestimated. Sometimes strength isn't about how hard you can hit, but how much you can hold back until the moment truly matters. Jack Turner reminded the world that real fighters aren't the ones who seek glory, they're the ones who rise for something worth protecting. And for one single dad veteran, that something was his son.